Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bandwidth and Banter. I forget. Who are you? Are you Bandwidth or Banter, or aren't we both?
We are both.
That's right.
But I feel like you are more. Well, we're both. No, I'm not even going to make an argument.
I like your interesting
chat.
Mm-hmm. Hi, chat. Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Today's a super treat. Just like last week was a treat. We had one of my favorite streamers on. Rhubarb was just incredible. Such a sweet and wholesome, wonderful person, and just warm and cozy. And it was an honor to have Rhubarb on the show. Good. And I hope to have her on the show again in the future, someday. So for sure.
Oh yeah.
Just an amazing part of Mighty Mango Mates. And we are blessed. We are amazed. We are very. It's really cool that we here at Stormkeep have all these amazing folks in these amazing circles that we've met. Right. Yes. And the person we have on tonight, we met through the circle of Insomnia Night / Rusty Tonics, those folks, and and just it's just a treat and an honor to have someone of his caliber on the show. This person is an amazing GM for multiple different TTRPGs, and he also has his own podcast in which they sometimes interview people and talk about various gaming topics, and I can't wait to hear all about it. So without further ado, who do we have on today, Druid?
RazaMahTaz.
RazaMahTaz, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you, sir.
Hey, it's an honor to be here. Thank you guys very much.
Raz, please reintroduce yourself and share with the audience something about your stream that you'd like to highlight.
Well, I'm RazaMahTaz. Craig Swan is my actual name. As far as our stream goes, the RazaMahTaz channel is really it's more of a platform that we use to kind of showcase what my partners and I do outside of streaming and everything else. We're really heavily engaged in the content creation and mainly TTRPGs, both in video games and in regular role-playing games, tabletop. Mm-hmm. Our passion is definitely in tabletop, but most of the work that we've done in the past has been in the video game space. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's what the stream is all about. We do, like you said, we do our update log, which is really talking about the gaming industry overall. We spend a lot of time in the video game industry era, mainly because there's so much great content to work with there, and especially right now, it's hard times in the industry. So we just try to make sure people are up to date and know what's going on, and of course we put our own spin on it and our own opinions. Sometimes you might like them, might not.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about opinions.
Yeah,
right. And then the video, the gaming piece to it, we really started out just running mainly Cyberpunk. We've developed a bit of a relationship with Artel Saurian Games over the last couple of years, and I personally love Cyberpunk. I've been playing Cyberpunk for 25 years. And so that's where we started at, and then we got engaged in working with Free League Press a lot, and as we've been doing creator interviews, some of the people that we've had on, the developers, writers, publishers, the devs for different games, mainly Free League Press games recently. Cool. So as we interview these creators, we also try to do a play test of the game, kind of showcase it and let people know, what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
Let's jump into the interview. I can't wait to hear all about it.
I know.
You get to go first with the first question. So all you, Druid.
I do.
Oh no, questions. Okay. I'm ready. Let's do it. Lay it on me.
RazaMahTaz. Please share a boring fact about yourself, sir.
A boring fact about myself. I spend most of my days, I work a lot. I'll put it that way. That's my boring fact.
Fair enough.
Love
I mean, working
a lot of
is not a
time
bad
with
thing.
well, when I work full time. I actually work in the automotive industry outside of doing this. I'm a full time investor as well, and in working with Missing Context, which is our studio. I spend a lot of my days just doing that. So
Right on. So
Busy guy.
yeah, I mean that's a good
passionate.
thing.
How about that?
It makes
Love it.
life worth living. Staying busy. I love it. So
It
Raz, how did you pick your Twitch name, and what was the inspiration?
That okay. That's been a matter of debate for a while now. We have a personal group that we've been playing with for a long time, and Rob and I both DM for it. We both DM on that personal group, and we had created two separate D&D campaigns. One was our main campaign, which we were running through Dungeon of the Mad Mage and kind of taking the slow path to that. So we decided to create a backup campaign. And the idea behind the backup campaign is in case characters died off in the main game, you already had a second character that you were kind of comfortable with playing, and you could just migrate them over. So we created that campaign in Sigil. I don't know if you're familiar with Sigil or not, but yeah, it's a weird kind of Crossroads style world. It's a D&D world, but
Okay.
Gotcha.
Planescape deal. And I created a character, actually two characters in there, but the RazaMahTaz is
Sigil, Planescape. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Go ahead. I apologize. It just the bell came on.
So I created this character, RazaMahTaz, and he is a Scion Harengon.
Ooh.
And everybody really enjoyed that character so much that I decided, as a joke, really, when I first started the Twitch channel, because I'd never actually done any streaming like that before,
Right.
other than like through Zoom for business.
Yeah.
So I just named the channel RazaMahTaz, and it stuck and kind of took off from there. So
Yep.
It's beautiful. It's perfect.
that's the story behind RazaMahTaz. And one of these days, people will actually get to meet RazaMahTaz. I'm looking forward to that because I enjoy playing that character. He's kind of
Ooh.
he's a little different for me because he's kind of quirky. He's not dark or anything like that. He's very mild mannered, and but he has the whole rabbit thing going on because everything happens very quickly, talks very quickly, thinks very quickly, those type of things.
Gotcha.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What D&D class do you consider yourself to be in real life?
Ooh, wow. I've been playing D&D for a very long time, so there are so many classes now that it's ridiculously hard to try and pick one like that.
Multiclassing is an option.
So yeah, okay. No, I think probably one of my very first characters that the first character I ever played was a warrior that I migrated into being a barbarian. That's not me. I'd say I'm probably a cleric.
Ooh,
I
cool.
love that.
Right on. I like it.
I love it.
So my next question, I'm going to add on to it a little bit because of what you just said. You said that you've been playing a very long time. I too have. First off, what edition of D&D did you start with as a game master, and which is your favorite? And you basically, how long have you been doing it?
Well, when I started playing D&D, it came in a little red box, if that tells you anything.
Yeah, the BX set, right? Basic expert.
So yeah, that's where I started at with basic D&D,
Mm-hmm.
and I would say my favorite addition out of the advanced D&D pieces. I mean I've enjoyed playing 5e quite a bit, but I'm really more probably 2e is probably the one that sets the most comfortable with me.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I started in '81, so I know exactly what you're talking about having done it a long, long time. I was
Right.
a young lad when I started, so
I tell you, I wasn't when I first started. I had a good friend of mine who talked me into playing during study hall in school,
uh-huh.
and I was bored, didn't have anything else to do. I wasn't really what is this D&D shit type of thing,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh yeah.
and I from the first time we sat down, created some characters, kind of ran through some ideas, and we started playing. I was hooked after that, so it was no turning back.
I
So
feel you.
good.
I think I was hooked as soon as I saw
I
some of the supplements in the art that was on the front of them and flipped
Oh
through them
man,
on the shelf when I first found it. I
yeah,
was like, please, Mom, I gotta have
yeah.
this, please. Give me more.
Within
Give me next week's allowance.
within a few months, I had a subscription to Dragon Magazine, so I was good
Wow.
and rolling with that. I had there was a play by mail game years ago called Hyperborean. It's kind of based on the Conan
Yeah.
genre.
Uh-huh.
So I did that because I really got into the whole world building thing. And yeah, it just, I've played a lot of different systems over the years. Yeah, some more popular, some like Gamma World, Car
Oh, you're speaking
Wars.
my language. So few people have
Yeah,
played Gamma World. I
yeah.
love it.
I have I think I have somewhere around here. I have a signed copy of. Are you familiar with ElfQuest?
Yes, yes. I haven't played it, but I'm familiar with it. Huh?
Yeah, we the group that I was part of then we staffed the first concentric at the Chicago O'Hare. So we
Wow.
worked directly with the writers. It was a husband and a wife team that wrote ElfQuest, and they gave each of us a signed copy of the main book. So
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah.
That is so cool.
I say this
I
every
love
time it
that.
comes up, but I love Gamma World, and all of the folks out here, almost every fantasy CRPG that exists owes its existence to Dungeons and Dragons. Well, a lot of
it
people don't
does.
realize that um, Fallout owes its existence to Wasteland, and Wasteland owes its existence to Gamma World. So, very cool. Very cool.
Gamma
Sorry,
World
I'm
was a hell of a
hogging your
fun.
question, Druid. Go ahead.
Well, hey,
No, no,
Gamma
no, go
World was
ahead.
a hell of a fun game. I mean, I absolutely loved that system. I was sad to see it kind of fall into obscurity, but
Yeah.
I can listen to you two talk about it forever. So do not apologize for taking a long time. Just saying. Take your time. We're here. We're
That's
here to
true.
talk about it.
We're here to.
you can hammer away with questions. I'll give you a caveat. I did at one point in time. I did some playtesting for TSR as well. So I have
Nice. Wow, I'm
yeah,
impressed.
I have some interesting little collectible items that I got from the team there at TSR, Gary Gygax. So
Real
good
history
stuff.
there. That's awesome.
Yeah, you've probably seen me. I have one of the crew shirts for the playtesters. It's one of the TSR logo shirts.
Mhm.
They only gave them out to employees and the playtesters. I wear that occasionally on the stream.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah,
That's cool.
that is a shirt to wear. Oh, that's
Mm,
amazing.
absolutely.
How long have you been a GM of Cyberpunk TTRPG, and what inspired you to craft the Cyberpunk Adventures on Twitch? Because that was the first thing you streamed on Twitch, right?
Yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, for games. How long? Wow. Geez, I've been GM. Well, there was a long period in there where I really didn't touch RPGs.
Mhm.
But I mean, I started GMing probably probably 1988, somewhere in that area. So it's been a long time. And yeah, D&D was first, obviously, and then Cyberpunk probably late 80s, early 90s. I started running a Cyberpunk game. I had a group of the group that I was playing with at the time. They really enjoyed Cyberpunk, but nobody wanted to run it. So I volunteered and just fell in love with the system and the world. And who doesn't? I mean, cyborgs. I mean, and the art is awesome. So
yes,
it's
yes,
yeah. I'm also a big fan of Shadowrun, which was obviously heavily inspired by Cyberpunk.
Right. Yep.
And I've played some of the older original editions of Shadowrun, and I even DM'd my own D20 conversion of Shadowrun, which was a lot of fun because my gaming group at the time couldn't quite wrap their heads around the mechanics of the original Shadowrun, and so I was like, well, you know what, I can make this work, and so we just retrofitted it, and I just ran with it. It was fun.
That's I mean, most of your RP groups that have been together for a while, that's kind of, the whole homebrew thing is such a huge deal.
Agreed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
My next question for you, though, is what is your favorite NPC you have created and your favorite player character?
Ooh, wow. Those are my favorite NPC. There's so many. I've created so many.
It's
NPCs.
a hard question. If you don't have to pick, one as your actual favorite, just one of your favorites.
Actually, yeah. Well, more recently was an NPC that I created for our Alien stream, and that was the captain of the ship they're on.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. I love the way you role played him. I got to see a lot of those episodes.
Well, in multifaceted character, that was the idea behind it. I really enjoy being able to add depth into those characters and make them have a life of their own. You know what I mean? Right. Instead of just having an NPC that's there for a specific purpose and they just do specific things and then that's it.
Exactly.
So yeah, Matt Prime Beam, that guy. He was not happy with the captain, by the way.
I can tell. So you said that was your favorite NPC. What about a player character, or have you been a forever DM for all this time?
Well, no, I kind of feel like a forever DM, but I have a lot of different player characters as well. I would say for straight RPGs, and I got to go more recently. I created I ran a female tiefling for our D&D campaign. That I really enjoyed that character a lot. She had a lot of issues, put it that way. So really kind of she wasn't an evil character, but she had a very dark disposition, and she had grown up basically her family had been killed when she was just an infant, and she'd been taken in by druids and raised, and so she wasn't worldly in any way. So basically grew up in the forest, and the group that she ended up tying herself to, and she has an immense hatred for humans, absolutely hates humans, but the group that she ended up tying herself to immediately took her to Waterdeep. So you can imagine, here I am living in the forest in the mountains, and then the next thing I know, I'm in the middle of Waterdeep. So it was interesting.
Wow, that's awesome.
There's so many I could talk about, but no. I love adding depth into characters. I tell you, that's creating the backstory.
You and I have that in common, sir. Yep. To me, that's the key to a good crafting a good story.
Right.
Crafting the world around the players and their interactions with the people that you put in the world. And it's It's wonderful. I love it.
For my personally, the way I approach it is it's not good RP unless you can bring that character to life. You know what I mean? You really have to be able to have depth to the character so that they're at least can seem and feel like a real person.
Yeah.
That's what I like to try to do. I don't know how successful I actually am with it, but I
well,
feel
from
like I do
what
all
I've
right.
seen many a times, I think you're very good. You've been doing it a long time, and you're well practiced. So
Appreciate that. Appreciate that a lot.
That's the whole point of the TTRPGs is you get to be this character.
Right.
And it is amazing.
Yep. That's why I don't mind being a forever DM. It's because honestly, we get to do more role playing than the players because we have so many characters we get to play.
And I get the one.
I enjoy DMing a great deal, and it is taxing. I got to say that, but I enjoy it because it gives me the opportunity to work with and help other people create story. Versus just, I think a lot of GMs kind of approach it from the angle of I'm going to make this story and then you're going to play it.
That's the wrong approach. Yeah.
Right. What I try to do is just create. I try to create a framework for the story to be told in.
Yeah.
And then let the players kind of do their thing, and they get to tell the story as we're going through it. And it requires you to be on your feet a lot because you got to react to things a lot.
Yes.
That are, whatever crazy direction your players decide to go with things.
Right.
Like blowing up fish tanks and, tossing grenades in an underground bunker.
Or trying to be friends, or trying to befriend the ghost in the tower.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
So.
The ghost don't scare me. We are friends now. I just realized we broke our promise to him. We never went back and told him what happened.
You just now realized that.
How horrible.
All right.
We have no choice, though.
So what other questions you got? What would you like to know?
We got more. Go ahead, Druid.
What drew you to Twitch? Why Twitch?
Well, what drew us to Twitch actually is we've had let me back up just a moment. There used to be 4 of us. We had a partnership with 4 creators, and we'd spent several years together doing basically pro bono style work. We did a lot of content creation for online groups that in active communities. And we decided to, hey, we're just gonna start working on this on our own. And we started doing some contract work for mainly MMORPGs, just creating content for those games. And we started out as the Vanguard Studios, and we ran that way for, I would say probably about a year and a half. And then one of the partners had some life events happen and decided to step away. So when that happened, we decided to kind of rebrand ourselves and recreate our image. And at the same time, we rebranded as Missing Context. And I believe that name for our studio is very fitting, but we also at that point in time, we decided to shift our attention into working in the RPG realm. And the first project that we started was actually creating a supplement for D&D. And we got about 6 months in on that. We had a lot of the development piece done. We were really working on story. We had mechanics created. And then the OGL stuff started. And at that point, we hadn't published anything using the OGL. So, and a lot of our, friends, people that we know in the community that already are heavily, if the OGL thing would have went the way they were planning for it to go, I have people that I've been engaged with for a very long time that were worried they were going to lose their business.
It was a big deal.
We decided, Yeah, well, and we decided to do a paradigm shift. We kind of backed off, shelved that project, and we chose to, hey, let's just start creating our own thing, see where it goes. So
I love it.
we've been working on what we affectionately call Project Horizon for the last probably close to 18 months. So
Nice. Yeah, we know exactly what you're talking. In fact, a little bit of trivia. Our very first episode of Bandwidth and Banter was Druid and I discussing the OGL debacle that just pretty much drove a dagger into the heart of Wizards of the Coast was what they were doing. Anyway, that's off on a totally different tangent that we're not going to go there, but you know what we're talking about.
We could probably spend a long time talking about that.
Yeah.
Or you guys would talk about it. I would sit here and go, yep, preach, let's go. I'd just be the hype man,
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
We've covered that in several episodes of the update log. So yeah.
Which is a great podcast.
What did family
name,
and friends think when you told them you planned on streaming?
Well, I didn't really tell a lot of people when I decided to create the channel. I created this channel as an experiment to really teach myself how to do it. That was the the RazaMahTaz channel was really just an experimental thing. I created it really just to figure out how does this work. You know what I mean? Right. Got everything set up and then started doing some streams. And very early on, like the first month, all I did is video game streams, and it was basically just me playing around. I had Cyberpunk 2077 going, and it was really just playing around with the video piece, the audio piece. How do these different features work? How do I do this? How do I build this scene? And after about a little over a month of doing that, I had already presented it to my partners that, hey, you know what, we need to do this because we have a brand that nobody knows about, and the only way to get out there in front of people is just to do it, to just get out in front of people, just put ourselves out there and go with it. Start building an audience. And that's really how the Twitch thing happened. Is it just I'm a little obstinate. I said, hey, I want to do this, and no one said no, so I did it.
I love it. That's how great things are made in the world, Raz.
Yep. What struggles did you deal with when you first started streaming?
All of them. Sound is horrible. Yeah. What a pain in the butt. That's probably the big one right there is sound.
We still, I feel you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
100%. Feel you 100%. In fact, I can imagine Druid is saying in her mind, I feel that in my soul.
I do. I felt it. It. I don't know if you saw that answer hit me, like physically hit me. Like, yep. Yep.
Yeah, sound is miserable. I started out trying to use templates or overlays.
Right.
And I figured out really quickly that I just don't like overlays. I don't like the restriction of overlays, and there's some really nice looking ones out there, and I've bought overlay packages so I can have the tools that go with it. But I build all of our scenes from scratch. So
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. So on that note, then, what tips can you share with future streamers?
Make sure that you have your sound. Make sure you get work with somebody, or ask a lot of questions, or partner with existing streamers, because that will definitely help you get over some of those hurdles, especially when it comes to the sound piece, because that's just horrible.
I agree.
Don't be afraid to ask. I mean, I'll put it this way: there's a large community of streamers, smaller streamers out there that are really will go out of their way to help you. And I've met some really, really fantastic people. Stormy included. Insomnia Night has been just awesome. I mean,
Yes.
that guy is great, you know.
Yes.
And they'll get behind you, they'll help you, they'll walk you through issues that you have. So that's the big one right there. Is I would just say make sure that you find a little community that you can get involved with and get engaged with, and then ask a lot of questions. Get into their Discord and ask a lot of questions, because they're willing to help you.
Yeah.
And a lot of times most of the people view it as your success is my success, and which is perfect.
Agreed.
Yes.
Don't try to approach the really big streamers. I'll warn you about that right off the bat. Do not think that you can engage them, because they will not engage with you. And you're just wasting your time. You're gonna beat your head up against the wall and quit probably. So find a small group, small streamers that have already faced a lot of the challenges that you have, and they will help you.
Oh yeah.
Agreed. Great advice.
Oh
Fantastic.
yeah. 100%. I am one of those that loves to help people figure that stuff out.
Yep.
I love it. Ah.
That's awesome.
It fuels me.
I'm to the point now where I get questions sometimes from other streamers, about, hey, how did you do this, or how did you do that? And it surprised me at first when that started happening, and now it's a feel good to be able to actually take what I've been able to learn and pay it forward, pass it on to somebody else.
Yeah. I cannot gatekeep this info. I need to share it.
Right.
And I need to get more people streaming. I need all of the people. I need all of my friends here. And because it's cooler that way. So
Indeed.
What do you enjoy most about streaming?
Nothing. No, actually, I really enjoy the community. That's the biggest piece to me, is being able to build a community of folks that, and we don't have a big community, but we do have a pretty strong base of people that really are joining us regularly and engaging us, and that is fantastic. Just having those folks that show up, watch your, absorb your content, and they engage with you, and they they provide input, whether it's through the chat during the stream, in the Discord. That's to me, that's really a very important piece of all of it, is being able to engage with those folks, and at the same time that they're enjoying our content and contributing as part of that content, we're learning from them as well.
Yes.
So
indeed. Right on. What a wonderful way of looking at things. How long have you been playing video games, and what was the first one you ever played?
The first video game I ever played was on a system called Odyssey. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Did you say Odyssey?
Odyssey, yeah. It
Yeah.
was one of the first video game systems. It actually came out before Atari.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Oh
Yeah.
I forgot about that. That one's
So I've been playing video games for a long time. I don't get to play video games a lot anymore. I decided for just to have some cool down time in the evenings. I either read, or and I do a lot. I'm an avid reader. Or now I decided, what, I was playing on the computer, but I need to get away from the screens for a while every day.
Yeah.
So I went and bought an Xbox, and I downloaded Skyrim, because I absolutely love Skyrim. I think it's an older game at this point, but I think I could just play that forever probably. So
I think a lot of people feel that way. She still plays it on her stream. I have too, and we'll probably return to it.
One of my favorites in recent that I downloaded Phantom Liberty, but I haven't actually played it yet, which sucks. But I really have enjoyed the Cyberpunk 2077 game as
It's a
well.
great game. Yeah. We're playing the DLC on Wednesdays with it's Star Kitty.
Yep.
So if you don't want spoilers,
Well, it does. The game itself plays a lot into my headcanon for the universe. And that's the biggest piece for me. It's awesome.
Very cool.
What else you got?
What is your favorite thing and your least favorite thing that you have streamed?
My favorite thing, I would say the update log is definitely my favorite. Rob is the host of that program, and he's the one who does the most of the research going into that. So he definitely, that's his baby, but it's my baby on the front side because I designed the screen piece to it, all that stuff. I think, honestly, if you were to ask all three of us, the answer is probably the same when it comes to the streams. Is the update log is
Nice.
definitely our, that's our passion child right there.
Right on.
Now, as far as games go, man, I can't pick a favorite. I really can't. I love all of them, and we have some games coming up that we're going to be doing that I'm sure I will love just as much. I have to give a shout out to Luke Stratton, because I haven't had a lot of opportunity to play on stream, but the one time I did was when we did our one shot of Pirate Borg, and the creator of Pirate Borg, Luke Stratton, joined us for that game, and I had just a hell of a lot of fun, and he is an awesome guy to play with. So
cool.
Matt ran it, and vengeance. I swear, I don't care what he says. It's vengeance. He killed me. Killed my character at the end of the stream. What a horrible person. I got to pick on him because he's in the audience. So
Of course.
Perfect.
Of course.
You.
Please tell us about the Update Log talk show. How did you pick the name, and what was your inspiration for starting a talk show?
The update log name. That, honestly, we went through a list from hell of potential names and finally kind of settled on, let's call it the update log. That's the story behind it. There's nothing, there's not really a grand thing there.
Yeah.
We had put a large list of ideas together, and we systematically went through and just started peeling them off, here, take one off, and we landed on the update log. And it fits for what we were aiming for, is to, try to keep it relevant to the space that we're in, and try to keep it informational for people, so that we're sharing and talking about, important news in the industry.
Yeah.
I forgot the other part of the question.
What's your inspiration for starting the talk show?
Inspiration for starting the talk show is the community itself, and building a community around our brand. That's that's where we started, and that's where we're going to continue to move forward with, is building that brand piece. We have a lot of things that we're going to be doing, like through 2024. Obviously, we're going to be running games both in person and virtually for GaryCon coming up. I will for sure be at Gen Con this year. Possibly Matt and Rob will also be there. We just might be spread a little bit thin for that. See where we actually land, because we would love to be in a position where we can represent ourselves, but I don't think we're going to be. I don't foresee having our game ready for release by Gen Con. So, probably not going to happen. But will definitely be there, and if nothing else, we'll be working with Artel Sorian, Free League Press, maybe some others. We'll see what happens. There's some other publishers out there that I find really, really interesting. We have a very soft conversation going on with them that maybe will develop more. So
Cool. Right on.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What has been your favorite topic that you have discussed on your podcast, talk show, podcast? Do you have a favorite topic?
I don't. I do. I got to give you a little bit of backstory before I lay this out there.
Perfect.
So, I mean, I've been playing and engaged with Dungeons and Dragons since TSR days. Obviously, I did some playtesting stuff with them. I've lived up here by Lake Geneva most of my life at this point. I was not happy when I found out that Wizards of the Coast was taking over the TSR portfolio. I understand why that happened, but it was not a happy moment for me. And I am, doubly not happy with what what Wizards of the Coast has. I'm not saying that they've created a lot of bad content or anything like that, because they haven't. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Wizards of the Coast.
Yeah.
So I would say anytime that they do something stupid and I get a chance to rag on them, absolutely, that's my favorite.
Nice. I approve this message. I agree. In fact, when she and I had our first B&B episode and we're talking about that, my solution was we need to kill D&D so that Wizards of the Coast would sell it to somebody else so that we can revive it with somebody who actually cares about it instead of wanting nothing but money.
Right.
So you touched on a topic that's my next question. That's, are you excited for GaryCon 2024? What you guys going to do there?
I am excited. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to be running live games at GaryCon. I have 8 games I'm going to be running over the 4 days. So 2 a day, both 4-hour sessions. So it's going to be, I'm going to be tired. It's going to feel like I'm like in my teens again, where you could just play for days.
Yeah.
So that's okay. We're going to run, I'm going to run The Witcher in the afternoon. That's going to be one session that I'm going to run 4 times. One story I'm going to run 4 times.
Yeah.
But we have developed we're developing an adventure module, I guess you would say, but basically right now it's a 4-part story, which is actually chapter 1 of a larger story, centered on cyberpunk.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a story that we created and we ran with our private group. It was a little different with the private group, but that allowed us to kind of flesh out a lot of what we wanted to do with it, and the playtesting piece, I guess you could say. And so we've been modifying and developing that so that we can create 4 independent sessions, but the trick to it is 4 independent sessions that run together, but not so much so that because you're not going to have exactly the same players each day. So it has to be able to be ran as an independent piece as well. So all 4 sessions are designed to be run as an independent piece that ties to the overall story. And yeah, we're not quite finished with it, and we gotta really put the finishing touches on it at this point. But I am really excited to show it to people and to run that story for some folks, because it is a fantastic story. It's called Beyond the Black Wall.
Ooh.
I love it. Can't wait to hear all about it once you've done it at GaryCon.
And I cannot wait to know when it's printed so we can buy it.
Right.
Hey, maybe I'll get you a copy.
I'll buy it. I just want it signed.
Yeah.
And then I can brag to people. And then I can brag to people.
Hey, we do have a credit that I would like to just share here that's going to be coming up. We have also been doing some playtesting work for R. Talsorian and Cody Pondsmith and the new game coming out there. So we'll get a credit for that when that game comes out as well.
Nice. Fantastic.
So hopefully that answered both parts of that question.
Yes, you did. You got it covered.
I'm super excited for GaryCon, and I really, I've been trying to encourage our community, the folks who were able to make it to GaryCon. Come on out, come to the table. Even if you're not gonna come play with me, stop by and see me. I'll be spending some time with the video pieces with GaryCon. I'll be spending some time with Mike Pondsmith, helping. We do have official support from R. Talsorian for GaryCon.
That's amazing.
I'll be spending some time with him, and R. Talsorian is actually contributing some prizes and giveaways. So we're going to be giving away some Cyberpunk content at GaryCon, possibly even for the virtual games. So
fantastic.
That's all coming straight from R. Talsorian.
That's awesome. You guys heard it here first. Well, I don't know if it's first, but you heard it here. Real quick, thank you, Raiders. We're going to jump back into the interview.
Holy cow.
Appreciate you.
Since all of you guys are here, I am so sorry. We are currently so for those of you who just showed up, welcome. Hi, we're Bandwidth and Banter. Go follow our friend RazaMahTaz, who we are interviewing today. Because you have now entered the chat, you now must at least go follow RazaMahTaz, at least on Twitch, because he has some really great things going on. So please, if you would do that, would be wonderful. Thank you.
We would appreciate it. That's what Bandwidth and Banter is all about, highlighting other streamers
Druid.
that
you
we
are hired.
admire and respect in the industry.
So if you guys are fans of TTRPGs and all things tabletop and nerdy, please.
Yep, indeed. Go check him out.
The
That's why he's here, because we adore him and appreciate him.
All 91 of you.
Interesting pivoted questions, Druid. I think the next one's yours.
As we're kind of exiting out of the more nerdy parts, we're into the other part. We're winding down. We're getting ready for chat questions. So if you have questions, plan them out now.
Guys.
What inspired you to start your candle and essential oil shop?
Well, we, my wife and I and my kids actually started that about 8-9 years ago. And two things. One is we do try to keep our house like clean of toxins as much as possible. We're not overboard with it or anything like that, but I mean we don't try to keep that stuff down. And most of the off the shelf products, candles, incenses, stuff like that are just a toxic cesspool. So we decided to start making our own, and then it became a thing where it dawned on my wife and I. Were like, hey, here's a perfect opportunity to teach our kids about business. So then we integrated them in the business, in the production, manufacturing, marketing side, the sales side, and we ran that way for several years as more or less a family with a small hobby business. The kids have since moved on and doing their own thing. So now it is basically back to all but my daughter. So it's myself, my daughter, and my wife now, and we do all of it. We do all the marketing, all the production, everything, and we have taken that to a point where everything in there is all natural, and that's kind of what we try to stick with. We don't want chemicals, toxins, or anything in our product, and we try to make sure it's the highest possible quality we can make. So long burn times, great scent throw, and try to do unique scents as much as possible. But yeah, that's the candle business. Thank you very much for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
All of our essential oils are 100% pure. We do not do blends. But yeah,
Nice.
Love it. Love
What
it.
is your favorite candle / wax fragrance that you guys have?
Whoa. Um, there's many. There's. Hmm, I am going to say my favorite is a holiday scent called Pumpkin Pickin'. It has a strong vanilla smell to it. It's sweet, but yeah, that's probably the one I like the most. There's so many that I really like. We have one that we haven't introduced on our website called Trail Ride,
Mm-hmm.
which we through kind of playing with the scents, we've been able to make one that actually mimics a woodsy kind of leather smell.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
So we decided to call it Trail Ride. We haven't put it up on the website yet. I'll probably introduce that on the website. We have more product that we sell that isn't on the website, but go check it out.
Ooh,
Awesome. Thank
yep. Yep.
you.
Absolutely. I love essential oils and
Mhm.
smelly things. I just own a
Mhm.
bird, so I can't have anything that's aerosol
Right.
and stuff like that because my bird will die, and I don't want that to happen. Um, but yeah, I love the candle shop.
Awesome. And from a price standpoint, we try to keep everything at a reasonable price. I mean, you can go buy cheap crap if that's what you want, but we don't we try to make sure we're not overcharging for
Yeah,
things. You go and look at a lot of the like novelty shops, online shops, stuff like that that are carrying all natural products, and a lot of them are just ridiculously priced. It's
yeah,
so expensive.
yeah,
So, and I'm not going to say ours is cheap by any means because it's not. I mean, it's pricey, but we're a whole lot better, probably 30 to 40% lower than a lot of the competitors.
yeah,
Nice.
And a big piece of that is because it's not about making, I mean, obviously we want to make money with it, but it's not about that. It's not about
yeah.
making, tons of money. It's about making enough to keep the business healthy and do something that we're passionate about.
Oh yeah, I think it's great.
I got to get you some beard oil, Stormy. We make beard oil as well.
Actually,
Some
I was
beard
I was
oil.
gonna
Hmm.
I was gonna
Yeah.
be picking up some for my husband.
I
Aha.
might have to take you up on that. I'll have to slide into the DMs. We'll discuss it.
Slide right into those DMs, Stormy.
Ah, so
The bad thing about our beard oil is it's not highly consumable. I have a couple of customers that buy beard oil from us regularly, but it's like the 1 ounce bottle lasts them for like 3-4 months. So, but yeah.
Any scalp oil. Okay, we're in our last three questions that are crafted questions.
these are fun crafted questions.
They're
Casual.
funny. These are the wind
Funny,
down towards the
funny. I
end.
like funny.
Um, what is the weirdest sleeping dream you have ever had
The weirdest sleeping dream I ever had.
you're willing to share?
Yeah, I have one that I will share. It's a weird one that I had as a child that I never forgot about, and it was like my running nightmare as like a 6-year old. And it was about sand people. I don't know where I got that from, where it came from, no idea. But it was like nights in a row I dreamt about these sand people coming after me. But
Nice.
yeah, haven't had that one in many years, but it's the one that sticks with me. If I ever had it again, it would probably be
This is
freaky, or if I
that's
ever seen a sand person.
awesome. So Raz, if you could be any superhero, which one would you choose and why?
If I could be any superhero, hmm, I think it would probably be Lobos. Um,
Oh, nice.
and simply because he doesn't take any shit and he doesn't have to put up with any shit. And
Nice.
I like that.
Oh, that's a
I
great
support.
choice. I love it.
I support. Last question. If you had to pick one, snickerdoodle or chocolate chip, what would it be for the rest of forever?
Mm. I'm going to say chocolate chip.
The wisest choice.
Acceptable.
I'd have to pick
Acceptable.
Snickerdoodle only because I'm allergic to chocolate. But if I weren't allergic, I would 100% pick chocolate.
I don't. That's the. I don't eat a lot of sweets. That's the.
Yeah.
So
We don't either, actually. So I feel you.
yeah.
I have a
All
sweet
right.
tooth. It's bad.
Now is the time for us to open up the floor to questions from our audience. And any questions that come to mind from Druid and I just kind of pop into our head that we didn't discuss earlier. And also, if you have any questions for us, Raz, this is our opportunity to do that. And also, we're going to share all of your links. Please check out what we shared below. Guys, you got to go support people like RazaMahTaz. They're doing amazing things on Twitch and in other areas of life in the world. And so people like him is exactly who we want to highlight, right, Druid?
100%, 100%. He is making changes. He's doing stuff for the betterment of our souls. So the least you can do is follow him on Twitch and buy his book when it goes live. Okay?
And
so those are your obligations.
Right. And he's a great freaking GM. So you're going to enjoy watching his Cyberpunk TTRPG night. Go check it out.
That's the bonus.
Absolutely.
The fact that he's great at it makes it, just do it.
Agreed.
Do it.
Agreed.
Zero regrets.
I think we should do a crossover game at some point and have you guys come play with us, or maybe we'll come play with you.
It's a thought.
We'll talk.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk.
It's that would be as long as it was an entire team kind of thing, I think we'd be down for it, because we're like kind of attached at the hip now, all four of us, five of us now with BT. But yeah.
That would be perfect. I think that'd be a fun time. We could come up with something quirky and fun to do for the evening and share it with the world.
I can play the little goblin character.
She'd be great, Goblin. All right.
Everybody wants to see me play a goblin.
Looks like Karavnos has the first question for us.
I have three, actually, on our Google Doc Stormy. I have 3 questions that I've already archived for us.
Oh,
that
look
are
at
in
you, girl.
order.
Right on.
Got you.
Nice.
Okay. So Karavnos asks, would you rather know how you die or know when you die?
Neither, actually.
Same.
I don't. Yeah. Okay, so death is a fact of life, right? That's what they tell me anyway. I don't plan to die, so
Yeah.
we'll just leave it at that.
You're working out how you can make the lich thing happen, huh?
I much prefer that it just be a surprise, all the way around.
Yeah. Yep. I need to.
Hopefully, it's a nice surprise, not a horrible, drawn out, long ordeal thing. But yeah.
Druid, you got the next one.
Karavanos also asked, what is your favorite magic spell / item / weapon you've ever homebrewed? Follow up, what were the steps the players had to take to obtain it?
That's a tough one.
It's a good question, though.
It is.
a great
It
one.
is. I would say the one that I most recently homebrewed was some tech in Cyberpunk, which falls into the story that we're telling, because the tech itself is kind of banned technology, even in the Cyberpunk world. So, and that's something that we haven't fully released to everybody yet, so I don't want to say too much about it, but I'm rather proud of what we have done with that. And I'm really, really excited that I'm the one that gets to kind of narrate that story for the team. So,
oh yeah,
sweet. I love it. I love it. See, hear that, guys? That's exactly a perfect reason to go watch his show.
just saying.
All right. So Young Hand asks, what advice would you give to folks wanting to get into game design or development?
Advice for game design or development. don't. I'm like, it's hard. It's hard. You're going to, here's the thing. I guess the one piece of advice that I could give anybody who wants to get into this is don't expect results for, I'm not going to say right away is absolutely ridiculous. If you're expecting something to happen really quickly and you're going to just create something and off you go, you're going to be really disappointed. I feel for you. You really have to have patience and perseverance if you're going to get into this, and you've got to be willing to fight hard, put in the hours, and it's got to be, you got to love it, because if you don't love it, you're going to hate it. That's the best I can say.
Yeah.
It
sounds like there's also like a lot of networking and stuff that's involved in it as well.
Huge amount. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
How much time is it do you dedicate to actually developing the game versus like networking? Like how much time is dedicated to?
That's a great question.
That depends. That depends a lot. We have a 3-person team that works on all of our projects. It used to be 4 people, but we have a 3-person team, and my role has been a little bit different in a lot of that. I do quite a bit in the creative space, but my partners do more of the creative piece. I take care of the business side. I've done quite a bit in the networking area, the part of the getting out there and developing, sponsoring relationships with different publishing companies, different creators, stuff like that. But that's I'm working on right. Rob's kind of stepping into that some, so he can kind of take that piece on. So I focus most of my attention is focused on the business side and in that piece. So I do a lot of the back end work. Matt is our creative producer, I guess you could say, especially for the Project Horizon, which is our game system that we're developing. He's the guy. Rob and I both contribute, and we're the creative team that works for him in that sense. I guess you could say it that way. For the GaryCon piece and everything we're developing there, I've been the lead on that project. That was kind of an easy one for me because I've been playing and running Cyberpunk for a very long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how much time to put into it. I wish I had more time to put into it. I would put it that way to you.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yep.
Things could go a lot quicker if we didn't have another life that we had to live as well. So everybody starting out has that, unless you take the path of going and going to work for a big company that already does, a big publisher that already is gonna hire you and make it your job to work on these game projects. I've never been in that space, so I really can't speak to that. But I don't think it would be as fulfilling as the place that I've been able to put myself in, where I can pick and choose. Right now, my partners and I own the company, so we can decide what we want to do and what we don't want to do. And there's nobody there, holding anything over our head saying, you're going to do this. No, I'm not.
Yeah. We're good.
So, yeah.
Cool.
Right on. Cool. While we're waiting on for some more questions from the audience, do you have any for us, Raz?
Well, what have you guys always played D&D? Is that the main game that you've streamed, or?
So that was actually, I had been streaming and Druid had been streaming our own kind of thing. We had our own separate streams, and then we met through a mutual mod of ours named Isolade, and we hit it off as friends. And then I met Extirpate Fate, her significant other, who I hit it off with really well too. And he had shared with me that they wanted that he tried to get her into D&D in the past, and they had a group that didn't quite work out, and that he always wanted her to experience a good D&D adventure. And I had shared with them that I've been a DM since I was a little kid in 1981, and I've been doing it for a long time. I have a current personal group on Sundays that we've been playing for 8 or 9 years, and had some previous older groups from the past as well. And but I said, you know what, I'd love to try and see if you guys like it. And it turned out we clicked really, really well. They Druid and Fate have become Starkitty and I's best friends, and we're just one of those rare instances where we just not only do we click personally, but we also click on a gaming level, right? Like the way we approach playing a TTRPG, a tabletop role-playing game, is very similar. And
right.
And so, yeah, we've been doing that since we just wrapped up our first campaign, which was 88 sessions long. It lasted almost 2 years.
That was my first campaign ever.
Yep, Druid's first campaign, and it was awesome. And we just started our new one, and we're on our second primary episode tomorrow. So thank you for asking.
That is fantastic. That is,
yeah.
I see. Pravinus actually asked a question in the chat about handling writer's block.
Yes.
And
yeah,
I gotta say, I think that the answer to that, from my standpoint, is actually a lot of what Stormy was just talking about. I mean, get yourself a creative network.
Yeah.
That's the way I handle it. I mean, anytime that I get into a spot where, and it happens too frequently, but anytime I get into a spot where it's just like, the brain fuzz is just there, and you just cannot fight your way out of the bag at that point. I just start, that's what I have a team for, because I just go to them and I start throwing things at them, let them throw ideas at me, and it's powerful to do that, and very, very recharging, because they're going to challenge you. They're going to challenge what your thinking is. They're going to challenge the things that you think that you're right on. They're even going to challenge the things that you think you're wrong on. Believe me, sometimes that's even more frustrating. But yeah, because they'll help you recharge that battery for sure. Get yourself into a network of people that you can just go and be a sounding board.
Yeah,
recharge your battery.
Just throwing it out there, Karavinos, you can literally unsolicitedly pop into my chat ever and just be like, I have a problem. And then we'll all problem solve it with you. Just saying. If you need help.
Yep. You can also pop over to my Discords and slide into my DMs, and we can, I'd be glad to help you brainstorm.
And
I can give you some additional advice, since you asked that question to all three of us. One other thing that helps me is, don't be afraid to be inspired by other pieces of entertainment that you see in life. I'm not saying copy or rip off anybody else's ideas, but let yourself be inspired when you see a cool character on an anime or a movie or a book that you read. It's some character that is like, oh wow, that's a really neat character. Imagine where that character's at and what he's doing. Once you start getting the imagination rolling, then it'll take on a mind of its own. Also, don't be afraid to go back and look at some of your old ideas that you never got to use. You can always reuse old ideas that you didn't get to use, and that can spiral into a whole new world. So
yeah, because Karavinos, you're a DM, right?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure I remember you saying you're a DM. You were showing me characters in Discord the other day. But yeah. I agree. There's a difference between steel and well-inspired. 100%.
Yeah.
I got to add something on that. When it comes to being a DM and getting block there, encourage your players to create backstory for their characters.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's a whole wealth of things that you can pull out of that really is just character development for your players. And I find that to be absolutely the absolute best thing for me. Is I really encourage my characters, or all my players, to create a backstory for their character. and then I use the backstory when that well's running dry. I'll go use their backstory to generate content, and
Agreed.
it feels good for them because it's specific to their story.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's an easy spot for me because they've already given me they've already put planted the seed there. All I got to do is make it grow for them.
Yep. They started this. They planted the seed and sparked the flame. And I agree 100%. In fact, you might, I don't know if you knew this or not, Raz, but our newest campaign that we just started with Druid and Fate and Star Kitty, and we added a new player, Banana Tom OG. We did a unique thing that these guys came up with, and that was that each of the first 4 episodes was an individual episode where I on stream made the character with the player, where we worked out the backstory together and the aesthetics of the character and the personality of the character and the motivations for the character. And we did it all together on stream. And then I ran them through an origin story one shot. And by starting it like that, and the neat thing is none of the players promised that they wouldn't watch each other's episodes until the first actual session where everybody's going to come together. And so it's been really, really fun working that out together. And like you said, creating the world around them.
I've been doing that with our Cyberpunk campaign it's doing the one shots that are specific to the characters, so that it's just an environment for that individual to play their character and be the character. You don't have to play as part of the group. You don't have to, you don't have that group think going on. You get to play into this universe which you created, and I'm just bringing it to life for you as the GM.
Right. Well said. Well said. I'm amazed. I love when I meet folks like yourself who really get it and realize that tabletop RPGs are a collaborative effort. Right. And that you create that space together. And that's why when you're going to have the most fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as a GM, you have a lot of fun with that too. So, I mean.
Oh, yeah. It gives me tons of fun. That's why I don't mind being a forever DM. Although I have to admit, I'm fortunate. My personal group that I play with on Sundays, a couple of months ago, one of our players decided to try out being a DM and DMing us. So I actually have got to play. It's been decades since I've been able to play. So it's been awesome.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. That's an interesting question.
Star Kitty asks,
go ahead.
What was your last Netflix binge?
My last Netflix binge. Well, I don't actually watch a lot of TV. So when I do watch anything like a binge like that, it's usually with my daughter. She likes to lasso me into watching shows with her. And the last series that we watched from beginning to end, which we've probably done this a couple times, was all of the Walking Dead series that are out there. So yeah, that's our father-daughter time watching The Walking Dead.
Right on.
Beautiful. I'm not a big fan of zombie things, but cool.
We watched Netrunner together. We watched The Last of Us together. And we've watched The Wheel of Time from Amazon. But anyway, I'm going to do a little, probably in the Discord, I'm going to do a little group chat thing in there for people who are interested in our Discord, where we'll get together and we'll talk about the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I have a couple people that have been asking me about that, and Old Man Garrus is going to join me for that.
Hell yeah. Old Man Garrus is awesome.
Yeah, and we're just going to do open chat, and we're going to talk about, probably a lot of comparison pieces for the first 2 books, because that's the basis for the Amazon series. And the Amazon series is it's really good, but it's not the Wheel of Time.
Yeah,
I'll just throw that out there.
That's what I've heard. I've heard a lot of people just like,
Yeah. Kravenos asks another good question. As a DM, have you ever dealt with a TPK? Did your players hate you?
No, I have dealt with the TPK, and no, my players didn't hate me. They don't hate me because they still play with me almost every Thursday night on a stream live. And
Right.
yes, I have killed them all in a total party wipeout a couple of times now.
I couldn't even imagine.
Here's the thing, guys. And I want to throw this out there really quickly. I really appreciate that question because that is an awesome question, and I think we all as GMs we have to deal with that. You know, and nobody wants their character to die. I mean, you put a lot of attention and effort, and you know, there's a lot that goes into that. You don't want your character to die, but for it to be a real story, for a real serious story, even if you're playing just a fun loving character, there has to be the potential for consequences. That has to be real. Doesn't mean you have to kill players. I do my best not to kill off player characters, but you know, I also take a, you know, pardon me, I don't F around and find out approach to it.
Fuck around, find out.
It's okay.
There's a
you
graph.
can speak as an adult on the channel. It's okay. Go ahead.
The F word's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Ooh.
So yeah, I have party wiped a couple of times, and I don't know if they love me or not, but they still play with me, if that matters.
Silly Jester asked another really good question. Is there a most shocking moment of creativity from your players?
There's a lot of them. Geez, I'm not sure that I could pull out one in particular. And I actually there's some moments that I would prefer to pull out that are games that I wasn't necessarily running, but I was playing in with some of the same people that play in my games. And there's one particular character that in a D&D campaign that we have. He's an ogre and he's a chef. If you can just imagine putting those two things together, he's like the kindest, most, you know, lovable, big, hairy, ugly fella, stinky. And you know, obviously he's a barbarian, so he has this horrible temper if you really piss him off. And my character, yeah, exactly. He makes really great food. It's just you've got to really dig deep in your soul to decide whether you want to eat it or not, because he did decide to cook intellect devourers and feed them to the group with some interesting side effects.
For us.
Yes.
For us.
But that answers your question. That is probably the moment of just fantastic creativity that you know lasted for a whole year of being able to play with that character. And Matt plays that character, and he plays it's just an awesome character, and he does a fantastic job with it. And I'm always amazed to play alongside that particular character, because it's you know, you never really know what you're gonna get, and it's always something interesting. So
oh wow.
I just have to say that
go ahead, Druid. Go ahead.
I just have to say I'm really, really excited to see my husband play a full spellcaster, because he is one of those insanely creative people, and it's the way he has to think. He has to talk about all of the things and step by step, and he has to sounding board all of these things. But it is the most glorious, like, how did you even think of that? Like how, and to be able to know, like, he gets to be able to be like this super crazy, not crazy, but super creative magic user, not just a paladin of Weejoss and Melora or whatever he was last campaign. You know, he has so much more freedom this time, and I'm so excited. The creativity there is going to be amazing.
I think the next question from Kravnos is yours, Druid.
Actually, you skipped Star Kitties, which was, what's your favorite book or book series?
Oh,
I already shared what mine was, and that's The Wheel of Time
Wheel
by
of Time.
Robert Jordan. Absolutely. Hands
Favorite.
down, that is my absolute favorite.
Kravnos also asks for all three of us, what are your TTRPG pet peeves? Ooh, that's a hard one.
God mode. God mode for sure. Yeah. And anybody who, gets into that, I forget what it's called now. I don't even, but anybody who comes in and basically tries to dominate the entire story with their character and can't do anything wrong, can never fail. Yes, they're heroes, but it's part of what makes the hero lovable. Part of what makes it a believable story is the fact that they have their struggles just like the rest of us do.
Right.
And that is probably the most annoying thing to me in any RPG, any game I've ever played in, is when you get those people at the table that basically do the heavy-handed gaming and try to dominate everything. It's just like, nah, I don't want to play with you.
Druid, you feel like you have one thing under your belt. I guess you haven't had the experience of. Well, you said before me you'd had a brief experience. Was there something there that
this was my first few attempts at playing D&D were with like an inexperienced group with an inexperienced DM with a lot of really strong personalities and expectations of how the game should be that nobody connected on. Everybody wanted to play with each other because we all happened to like live close and just like all of us were interested in D&D, but like nothing really meshed well. So I don't really think that is a I can't say that I don't have any pet peeves yet. I haven't really experienced anything to give me the ick.
Right.
Except that like, don't settle for a D&D group. You will find your D&D group, and D&D or TTRPGs in general, whatever it might be, there's plenty of people out there. And the internet's wonderful.
Yep. My answer. Sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to say we have a group of six that play together every week, and we've been playing together every week for I think a little over 3 years now.
Nice.
So I mean, you can find a really good group that you really can get tuned up with, and they're out there. I agree, Drew. Don't settle.
Don't settle.
You get into a group where it's just not, that's not your scene, or you're just not enjoying it, or whatever. You feel like it's just not a good fit. Then find a new group.
Yeah. Exactly what Kravnos, you answered it exactly what she said. You answered it very eloquently. Sometimes bad group synergy, it's all there is to it. I've played in some groups, DM'd some groups that had really bad synergy because some folks just don't gel the way they play, the way they role play, the way they want to, min-max everything, or they want to rules lawyer everything. I've also been a player of groups. I've done this long enough that I can be honest and reflective and say I have made some mistakes. That I have been a problem person in a group in the past, and I've learned from that and know how to not be that way now. Because once you see the big picture that we're all in it together to have fun, then it starts to become. You're working together collaboratively to create this amazing role-playing dynamic. I would say one of my big pet peeves is players that gets, not always, but it can be this way. This is usually, I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve, more of a red flag, and that's when players go, well, that's just what my character would do. The thing is a lot of the time when a player's doing that, it means that they're trying to do something that derails the narrative or is just incredibly self-absorbed in a way that isn't collaborative. Not always, just sometimes. And so that's why it's a red flag, because it's not always that. Sometimes it's a player that's just not confident in their role playing. Maybe they're new. And so you got to help encourage out of them and say, hey, you don't have to say that's just what my character would do. Just role play your character and, you know, embody the character that you envision, their personality, their motivations. And then you don't have to justify by saying that's what my character would do. It's not needed.
Acting is incredibly hard. I just want to say that. Acting
Yes.
may seem simple and easy, but it's incredibly hard.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, takes a little while for people to get comfortable and to get comfortable with the people that they're with before you can truly put yourself into the headspace of that character.
Right.
So I understand completely, and absolutely, there are people out there who their idea of, you know, they struggle with it and just never quite get there. Yeah, you know, I don't hold that against people. I mean, that's fine. You know, it's hard. It's not easy to put yourself into that headspace and actually it's you're acting, because at that point, I mean, you are playing the character. It's awesome. The people who can do that really well, I dig it. I really love it. But for the folks who struggle with it, hey, I understand completely.
Yeah.
It's a skill. It is a skill. My husband, Extirpate Fate, asks, what is one rule in D&D that you think is the worst, or the one you always homebrew because you just don't like it?
That's a great question.
Spell components.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's just such a hassle.
Yep, spell components and probably encumbrance would be close after that.
Agreed. Yep. It adds. Now I can see if the world that you have crafted and the experience you're wanting, like I've always kind of wanted to do a survivalist style D&D campaign, like not a long one, but like a short one, right? Where you take care of all that minutia, how often you've eaten, when you've gone to the bathroom, what the temperature is, you know, the spell components, the weight of the stuff you're carrying, and how much money you have, down to the, you know, the silver piece or the copper piece. I could see doing that as a purposeful kind of one-time experience, but I would never want to DM that way all the time. I like narrative style games, you know?
Yes. Theater of the mind is usually what I'm not. We do use some maps and stuff like that. But theater of the mind is my choice way to go. And who wants to, you know, yes, you want to add some realism and you want to have challenges. Those things make a good story, but I mean, I have to eat, sleep, and shit every day in real life. Why do I want to do that in a fantasy too?
Right. You know, I get you.
Everybody poops. We don't need to describe it in a D&D game. Thank you. I agree. I agree.
So we've come to that point where the interview is at the end, folks. My gosh, RazaMahTaz, it's been such an honor and a pleasure. Can you share one other pearl of wisdom with the folks before we wrap up tonight?
There's 2 more questions in chat that popped in.
Well,
can we finish this really quick?
If you don't mind,
and no more questions, chat.
Yep.
Just saying. After Karavanos and Extirpate Fate, Karavanos asks, favorite element magic, or if not elements, what is your favorite school of magic?
My favorite school of magic, I am gonna say conjuration, probably.
Neato. Cool.
It's one of the least popular, I would say, but I like creating things. So and when when I'm describing and really kind of putting out there what the spell is, I like it to be a build, you know, something actually happening that you're seeing, and if I can use different elements up to and including, you know, like creatures and things like that. That's awesome. I love doing that.
Love it. Love it. And then Fate's last question, if you want to get that, Stormy. And then no more questions from chat.
Is that if you don't use spell components on the regular, do you still require ones that have a gold value?
Yeah.
Yeah, what we've adopted in our D&D campaign is the ones that are really expensive. So there are, I'm just gonna the really gross ones, like a wish spell. Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to do special things for that. That's not just something that you're gonna cast. The higher level spells, yes. But the idea behind it is that there is going to be a gold value that you have to pay for that. There may even be some particular spells out there that have a really rare item that's required that, you're going to have to go find that, because that is an adventure hook. It's the common everyday things like, whatever, frog skin, snake's tongue, whatever. Yeah, no, the way we do that, actually, there's a one out there that you can do a spell component pouch style deal where you just pay so much, you deduct so much gold every so often from your character, and you just basically you have this pouch that you use for all your spell components, and then you don't have to deal with the keeping track of all that or trying to you can RP it in if you want to, which I would encourage people to do that if they want to get that sense of really staying within the game system. RP it in there. I mean, put it in there that you're, pulling out your whatever, and throw the salt over your shoulder and then spit fire out of your, whatever. However you want to do it, right? Out of wherever.
Exactly.
Lightning from my eyes and fireballs out of my ass, right?
Everything is up to your imagination.
That's kind of the way that we've done it. Is
right
really just using the pouches.
I respect
it's still there. We're just not managing it.
All right. So last quick pearl of wisdom before we wrap up for the night and let you get back to your family.
Yep.
Last quick pearl of wisdom. You know what? I'm just going to say two things. Things. One is the advice we gave earlier for anybody, anytime. Don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask questions of people. If you, you need help, if you, whatever, need creative help, personal help, it doesn't really matter. Don't be afraid to ask. Yeah. And always remember to pay it forward. Always remember to pay it forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Someone helps you, then make it your purpose in life to help someone else. And that's really just good karma. And the other piece is remember to love each other.
Ooh, wow. You hit me in the field stones with that one, brother.
Well, we struggle with that, I think, a lot of times, and don't, there's enough hate in the world as it is.
Yeah.
Don't push more out there. Take a little out. That's it. That's what I got to share.
That's the best pearl of wisdom that could be said. I appreciate you, sir.
Thank you.
You bet. All right. Thanks again.
Fantastic.
You have a good one, and stay on the line until we wrap up. I appreciate you.
Yep. I'll be here. All right. Good night.
You're the best. Again, really quick, guys. Again, go follow Raz. I will make it easy.
I was gonna say share his links again, Druid. Let's see him again. I'm
gonna make sure that I just share at least just the Twitch individually. Yep. Go.
Yep.
Okay.
Check out his about section for all of his other links. Give him all the biddies in the subs. Make sure that we keep him elevated and rising to the top, because he's exactly the kind of people that not just makes Twitch a better place, but the world a better place with a great attitude about life.
Mm-hmm. And TTRPG space.
Oh. Hell yeah. Exactly. It's like you read my mind, Druid. Speaking of reading my mind, who do we have on next week?
Next week, we get the opportunity to re-interview Husky Boyo. Perfect. Yes. Because the first time we had an audio hiccup that we just didn't realize was as bad as it was. And so he's getting a special treatment because of that. We're going to do our the same kind of style interview that we use for our returning guests. And it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward
talking to Husky Boyo and getting to know him a bit better. And he's another great content creator. So an artist. So
Yes. Love it. Artist, comedian. So excited.
All righty.
So many good things.
Yes. Well, I think it's time for us to wrap up. What you think, Druid?
Yep, let's do it.
All right. Everyone, thank you for coming to the show.
Please drop a like, subscribe, and comment down below.
If you're listening to the podcast,
Please rate and review the episode.
we are Bandwidth.
And banter.
Thank you.
And good night. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye, guys. Have a great one.